Alrighty, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Damo's Top 25. Pretty huge weekend for upsets in college football. We just keep having top 10 teams go down, and besides that, we had a bunch of right outside the top 10 upsets as well. So if you're still alive, you're pretty happy. One thing I do gotta say, I think we've got our 12 playoff teams. Now, there could be some catastrophe next week. I'm personally rooting for catastrophe and chaos, but I'm just happy OU got to beat Alabama yesterday. That's really all I needed to cap off the season, especially after how horrible the season's been. At least we got something. At least we got something. Okay, let's get into it. Oregon was on bye. So I'm going to try to move through this pretty fast. Oregon was on bye. Indiana lost to Ohio State. So we're going to go ahead and move Indiana right down here. Ohio State beat Indiana. We can go ahead and move them up to 2. And we're going to talk about some of the playoff scenarios here in a minute. So Ohio State's going to keep going. Boise State beats Wyoming 17-13. Is Boise State moving up? Yeah, they are. And technically, Notre Dame should not move past 5, but they're probably gonna slide up to number 4 here. So Notre Dame beat Army because once again Notre Dame hates America. They are football terrorists. But they beat Army 49-14. And we can go ahead and slide Notre Dame up. Next up, I had BYU. Oh, I forgot that I moved BYU and SMU down. I moved BYU and SMU down. I'm gonna undo that decision because I did not take that into account on the rankings this week. SMU, BYU lost to Arizona State, so BYU we can go ahead and move down here with Indiana, except they're gonna move way further than Indiana. SMU beat Virginia 33-7. Oh, by the way, BYU lost to Arizona State 23-28. Not exactly a good loss. And now it looks like I don't know, we've got some chaos in the Big 12. We've got 4 teams that could go. It could be Colorado, it could be BYU, it could be Iowa State, or it could be Arizona State. It's literally a total clusterfuck. And I feel like that decides the last playoff spot. And if any SEC teams want to cry about one of them missing a spot, well, go ahead and blame the Big 12 because they're the team that is going to be stealing a spot this year. They definitely do not have a team that deserves to be in the playoffs, but they are going to get an automatic qualifier. So, anyways, SMU beat Virginia 33-7. Miami, oh my gosh, I've still got Miami above Penn State too. We got Miami at 9-1, took down Wake Forest 42-14. Penn State beat Minnesota 26-25, barely scraped by there. Although Minnesota was a good team. Texas beat Kentucky 31-14. And now it's come down to Georgia has qualified for the SEC championship game. They will be in the SEC championship. And it is going to come down to Texas or A&M, wherever they're at. Texas or A&M to move on to the SEC championship. And that will be decided. They play on Saturday, I'm pretty sure. I really wanted them to play on Thursday, but I guess we just can't have nice things. Anyways, Alabama lost to... Alabama lost to Oklahoma 24-3. Looked absolutely terrible in that game. So we're just going to slide Alabama down here for right now. Ole Miss. Wait, no. We're skipping somebody. Army lost to Notre Dame 14-49. So Army's going to slide down here. Ole Miss lost to Florida 17-24. So join the losers club, Ole Miss. You are also not going to the playoffs, dog. Georgia actually won their game. They beat UMass 59-21. So good for Georgia. They're going to move up ahead of Indiana and BYU. Tennessee beat UTEP 56-0. So Tennessee keeps rolling, and Tennessee is probably... I think these teams are all a lock for the playoffs. They're well, not BYU necessarily. A Big 12 team is a lock for the playoffs. I have no idea which Big 12 team that will be though. South Carolina. South Carolina took down Wofford 56-12. Texas A&M lost to what was it, Auburn in overtime, 41-43. So huge L there for Texas A&M. Although Texas A&M is the most likely three-loss team to make the playoff. Is that how it should be? No, but that is how it is. So I guess we'll slide them down here for now. I'm really not sure what to do with A&M. I imagine they're going to lose to Texas this weekend and hopefully keep themselves irrelevant from the playoff conversation. If they beat Texas, I have no idea what's going to happen because you would think that would mean they would take Texas's spot in the top 12. I don't really see Texas moving down. Like, I mean, for me, I've got them lower than the AP poll or the college football playoffs will. I'm sure for them that they're fucking Texas is like right here, right here. So I'm not sure what's going to happen, and if a team does get knocked out, I believe it will be Indiana. I think Indiana is the only team who, I guess Tennessee could also get knocked out, but I think Tennessee for me is going to slide up above Indiana. Colorado lost to Kansas State, so Colorado is going to join these awful teams down here. 21-37. Clemson beat Citadel. Good for Clemson. Iowa State beat Utah 31-28. Washington State lost to Oregon State 38-41. So we'll just add another team down here. Arizona State beat BYU, so big props to Arizona State. I think they're on the inside path on the Big 12 championship. Although I'm really not sure how that is going to get decided. Illinois beat Rutgers, and Memphis and Tulane were on bye. Okay, so that's our top 25 teams. On the outside bubble, we had Louisville, Mizzou, Kansas State, all picking up wins. Syracuse and UNLV as well. Same for Duke. But none of those teams are going to matter to the playoffs. Okay, let me pull up my actual rankings for this week. We've got number 1, Oregon. We've got number 2, Ohio State. We've got number 3, Boise State. We've got number 4, Notre Dame. But Notre Dame, the highest they can finish is actually number 5. We've got SMU at 6. We've got my 5. We've got Miami at 6. SMU at 5, Miami at 6. Let's actually slide. I've got Penn State ahead of Texas. Let's actually slide Penn State behind Texas. So I'm going to make a small little change there. Actually, no. Let's go ahead and leave it how it is. We've got Penn State above Texas right now. Okay, so Texas right behind them. Then we will have... Well, I've got Indiana right here. I should probably have Georgia ahead of them. Like, I feel like it should probably be like this. That's going to fuck up some of my playoff stuff. But you know what? Honestly, I feel like this just... You could probably slide Texas over SMU as well. You could definitely slide them over Notre Dame. Notre Dame's not actually that good. But let's leave it how I had it ranked. Just to avoid any confusions. We're going to leave Penn State above Texas. We're going to put Texas right there. We're going to put Indiana right here. We're going to put Georgia right here. And then Tennessee will be 11. And then the last team to make it into the top 12, South Carolina. But actually, unfortunately for South Carolina, they are going to be the first team out. And I know what you're thinking. Alabama is a 3-loss team that beat South Carolina. Well, the difference is South Carolina didn't get absolutely fucking wrecked by Oklahoma yesterday. Oklahoma, the most dog shit team in the SEC, maybe. I say that as an Oklahoma fan. So, right now, I would give, if there's an extra spot to give, I would give it to Tennessee. But I don't think that's going to happen. Or not Tennessee, I would give it to South Carolina. Well, really the winner of the South Carolina-Clemson game. But instead, the Big 12 champion will be going. I've got Clemson at 13. I've got Iowa State at 14. And I've got Arizona State at 15. I'm going to leave BYU right here at 16. You're going to see that all these Big 12 teams are right behind the South Carolina Clemson game. But whoever wins the Big 12 championship will jump above them. Not necessarily in rankings. Like I would still probably take South Carolina over these teams. But because they'll get an automatic qualifying bid, they will jump them no matter what. Okay, next up we've got Illinois. Illinois will move up to 17. Memphis and Tulane. I'm actually going to put Tulane above Memphis this week. Because I think if they play, I think Tulane will win. But I've got Tulane above Memphis, and then right after that, we've got Alabama. So Alabama actually didn't fall too far, although they did fall out of the playoff conversation. Granted, I think these 11 right here, Tennessee and up, they're all in. The real question is who's the Big 12 team that's in. Army at 21, Ole Miss at 22. A&M at 23. Oh, hey, this worked out really nice. We're actually going to slide Louisville up above Colorado, though. Although, Louisville has no chance of making the playoffs, so maybe Colorado should be above them. Honestly, I don't think that's a big deal. And that would move Louisville down to 25, and Washington State is going to be falling out of our top 25. Now, I did make playoff rankings down to 39 this week. We're going to go ahead and do that, even though... if Colorado was right here, it would be accurate. These 17 teams, they will be the playoff teams. And really one of these four and one of these two if some chaos happens next week. So we'll see how that plays out. Colorado is my lowest rated Big 12 team, though, so I think the chances of them making it are least likely. Now, if like all of these teams, like say we had a round robin and the best team made it, I think it would probably. I mean, to be honest, there's nothing that separates these teams. There is nothing. I mean, Arizona State beat BYU this week, so maybe that's what separates them. I'm really not sure. These teams all kind of. They would all get destroyed by Ohio State, which is currently, as my bracket would set, where they would be playing. So I think South Carolina has a way better chance against Ohio State than any of these four teams do. But anyways, let's keep going. So we slid Colorado above Louisville just because Colorado has some playoff hopes. These two have playoff hopes if Boise State loses like the next 2 weeks. Otherwise, they are not getting in. Notre Dame, if they lost to USC, I guess would open up a spot for these two. But to be honest, I think Notre Dame's in probably even with a loss. Okay, so we'll put Mizzou right here at 26, whereas Kansas State. Okay, Purple Kansas, where are you? There they are. Okay, so we'll put Missouri right above Kansas State. We'll put Syracuse right below them. We're going to put UNLV right below that. Duke. What a cool story it's been for Duke this year. I'm sure they would have liked to change a couple things around. They almost beat SMU, but they are where they are. Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's been solid all year. ULL. University of Louisiana Lafayette. Yep, we'll slide them right behind Georgia Tech. We're going to put LSU right here because they're not even the best team in Louisiana. Pitt. Pitt's going to move right there. Navy. Also, I'm totally missing a team. I don't know what happened, but when I was making these rankings, one of these teams just disappeared. So if there's a mysterious, like, some team that's, like, left off that was here last week, I have no reason to explain why they disappeared. I can't tell you. I keep looking, like, I'm comparing this week's rankings to last week's, and I'm going, like, 2 teams at a time, and they're all there, so I don't know. It was a Houdini act. Next up, I'm going to rank 3 more teams. So we're going to get a top 39 this week. I'm going to rank 3 more teams. They are not anywhere relevant to the playoff conversation, but they are, well, I guess they are in that they are ruining other teams' playoff hopes. So you do not want to be playing Florida right now. You do not want to be playing Kansas right now. And you do not want to be playing Oklahoma right now. Although Oklahoma is playing LSU this week, so not really a chance to upset anybody's playoff hopes because LSU's playoff hopes do not exist. I am not sure for Kansas. Kansas plays Baylor. Florida State plays Florida. So nobody for them to upset this week. Alrighty. That's my top 20. That's my top 39 as I see it. Now, obviously, there's some room to mess around with stuff in here. I also have a college football playoff. I don't have any visuals to pull up with it, but I'm gonna tell you what my college football playoff would be. And I'm gonna tell you what I think what it's actually gonna look like. Okay, so let's go check out the AP Top 25 real fast. AP Top 25. I imagine we've got the same 12. Oregon 1, Ohio State 2. Yeah, they've got Texas at number 3, Penn State 4, Notre Dame 5, which is the highest they could go, but actually they would get jumped. Like, okay, they've actually their playoff teams. The top 4 is not going to necessarily make sense. So we've got Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Miami, SMU, Indiana, Boise State. I don't know how Boise State's number 11. I don't know. I get that they're not playing good competition, and that they're also having like trouble in some of their games. But their only loss is to the number 1 team in the country. And if you watch that game, it was actually a pretty close game. And then we've got number 12, Clemson. Dang, they've got South Carolina behind Alabama. I don't know if they're watching the same Alabama as I was yesterday. Arizona State at 14, Ole Miss at 15, and number 12 almost doesn't matter because they're going to get jumped by the Big 12 team. Ole Miss at 15, South Carolina at 16, Iowa State at 17, Tulane at 18, BYU at 19, A&M at 20, UNLV at 21, Illinois 22, Colorado 23, Missouri 24, and Army 25. So we've got roughly the same. I mean, if you go look right here, I don't have Mizzou or UNLV, but that's not going to matter. Although UNLV could beat Boise, I don't think even if UNLV does beat Boise, they're not going to move up enough to be the Group of 5 champion unless Tulane also loses. So I guess there is UNLV wins out, Tulane loses the American Conference. So I guess there are possibilities for UNLV. Same for Colorado. Okay, so that's honestly, I feel like that AP Top 25 is fine. That we've got some teams at different spots, but to be honest, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now let's take this exact same bracket and let's do where this is. If we took my rankings today, I've got 2 of these. We've got one where I take my rankings today, and we make the college football playoffs with that. I've got another one where we look at what I think is going to happen in the next 2 weeks, and then we take my college football playoff rankings from that. So let's take a look at the first scenario, which is just what's on screen right now, how they would match up. So we would have number 1, Oregon. We would have number 2, Boise State for me. The highest Ohio State could be was 5, and Notre Dame would be right here. I would take SMU over Miami. So this is going to be a total clusterfuck, but ignore that. Miami will move down here. Texas will move up here because right now I've got Texas right above Georgia, so that would mean Texas is the 4th highest rated champion. Although to be honest, they would probably move up, but that we'll save that for the next one. This is just basing it off of my rankings as I have them here. Penn State at number 8. Indiana at 9, Georgia at 10, Tennessee at 11, and Iowa State. I've got Iowa State as my 12th team, just because I have them ranked the highest. There is, like I said, the Big 12 is a total clusterfuck, so I have no idea. And how this would actually work in practice is Iowa State would go play Ohio State, Tennessee would go play Notre Dame, Georgia would play Miami, and Indiana would play at Penn State. And then how this would work in practice is the winner of that game would play Oregon. The winner of this game would play Boise. The winner of this game would play SMU, and the winner of this game would play Texas, which creates some nice little matchups. But I do not think this is not how it's going to go down. So what I think is actually going to happen, either way though, I think we're taking pretty much these same 12 teams. You can swap out the Iowa State logo for any other Big 12 logo you'd like, as long as it's this one, or this one. Because I have no idea who the fuck's going to go for the Big 12. It doesn't matter, because they're either going to play Ohio State or Oregon, and they're going to get fucking wrecked. Mark my words, whoever comes out of the Big 12 is going to get destroyed by whatever Ohio State or Oregon team is here. So this is how I would do the playoffs right now, just based off my rankings. I didn't like move anything around to have like better matchups or something. But this next set is how I think the committee's actually going to do it. And I've also got a few predictions. I think Ohio State is going to beat Oregon in the not the SEC, in the Big Ten championship game. So I think we'll have Ohio State right there. I think Georgia will beat Texas, and I believe that the AP or college football or whoever decides it will have Georgia at number 2. They will put SMU at number 3, and they will move Boise down to number 4. So now maybe Miami wins here. I think SMU beats Miami probably. But that one's kind of a toss up. You could switch these two around. Which gives Oregon the 5 spot. Insert Big 12 team here. Literally what I have written down is just insert Big 12 team here. I think Texas, they would rate Texas above Notre Dame. And Notre Dame would move down to 7. Miami would move down to 8. And that shifts these down a little. So Penn State would still be above Indiana. They would have Tennessee over Indiana. And they will have Indiana right here matching up against Texas, which gives Texas what the committee believes is a nice, easy path against Indiana. Oregon, a nice, easy path against Iowa State. Notre Dame would probably lose to Tennessee, although I think this would be a good game. Same for Miami versus Penn State. I think these two have the potential to be good games, but more than likely, I think Oregon would blow out really any Big 12 team there. And Texas, I think, would put on a good game with Indiana, but I think Texas would probably win. Which, the way this would work out, Ohio State would play the winner of this matchup. Georgia would play the winner of this matchup. SMU would play the winner of this matchup, which could create a nice little Texas versus Texas game. And then Boise State will play the winner of this matchup. And so we could get a rematch with Oregon and Boise. I think this game would be really fun, a Texas versus SMU game. Either way, Notre Dame versus Tennessee playing Georgia would be a huge matchup. And same for Ohio State, although I'm sure the committee would prefer a Miami win so we can get the TV ratings from a Miami-Ohio State game. So that's just the scenarios I got in my head right now. Obviously, there's a bunch of different ways we can go. This is rivalry week. So a bunch of teams could potentially get upset here. Let me look at the schedules, because we've actually got we've got a couple games this week that are, I think, kind of big deals. So we'll move everybody back to where they were. Boise, Notre Dame, SMU, Miami, Penn State, Texas, Indiana, Tennessee. Oh, wait, no, Georgia, Tennessee, and then Iowa State is number 14, right behind Clemson. Okay, so Oregon has got to play Washington. Oregon should win that game. Ohio State's got to play Michigan. Ohio State is going to destroy Michigan. Boise State will play Oregon State. I see that could be a potential upset. I think Boise will win, but that could be a potential upset. Notre Dame versus USC. I think that is huge upset vibes. Huge upset vibes. And honestly, if Notre Dame lost, that would open the door for the winner of the South Carolina game, Clemson game, or me. Now, if you're the committee, maybe you want to put Alabama there instead. Especially if South Carolina loses, they would definitely prefer to take Alabama over Clemson. But I think whoever won this game would deserve the spot over of the replacement team. SMU's got Cal. SMU should win that game. Miami's got Syracuse. That is actually kind of a tough game. I've got Syracuse ranked number 27, or 28. So I don't think that's necessarily a guaranteed win for Miami. Although I do think Miami will win. Penn State versus Maryland. Penn State should absolutely dominate that game. Texas versus Texas A&M. I've got Texas winning, although that would create a really funny scenario if Texas A&M won, and it would be chaos because Texas A&M they're probably not going to the playoff unless they win the SEC championship. I don't think even if they beat Texas next week, like I think Texas would stay in and A&M would stay out. That doesn't make any sense, but I think that's how it would go down. Okay, but a huge game for Texas and A&M. I think that's the game everybody's like most looking forward to this weekend. Georgia versus Georgia Tech, another not gimme game. Although Georgia should win, but Georgia Tech has played solid all year. We started out the year talking about Georgia Tech. Maybe we'll finish off the year talking about Georgia Tech. But either way, even if Georgia loses, I think they'll be in even if they lose. If they're 9-3, hell, shit, I think they could go 9-4. They could lose this week and the week after that, and still go to the playoffs. Tennessee's got Vanderbilt. Tennessee could get upset there, and if Tennessee loses there, so there's a bunch of potential upsets in the top 12. So if you're right outside, I mean, all you need is one of these games to turn out in your favor. And we've seen multiple top 10 teams lose pretty much for the last 4 weeks. I might be remembering that wrong, but I'm pretty sure we've seen multiple top 10 teams lose several weeks in a row. I know we've lost to the last 2 or 3 weeks. And then we got Clemson versus South Carolina. Iowa State is playing Kansas State. Ooh, tough matchup. Arizona State's playing Arizona. Arizona State should win that. BYU is playing Houston. I don't know. Houston's had some solid games. Houston could pull that off. Illinois versus Northwestern doesn't really matter. Memphis versus Tulane. This is a pretty big game. Maybe we should slide these two ahead of Illinois. We're not going to, but I don't know. I think this has outside playoff implications. Like if all these teams, if every Big 12 team lost, I think these two would go instead of the Big 12 team. But I don't think it's very likely that every single one of the top 4 Big 12 teams loses. But you never know. Maybe there is mass chaos next week. We'll wait and see. Alabama at number 20. They are playing Auburn, and for me, Alabama's season is over. There's no way, like if I was making the playoffs, there is literally no way left for them to get in. They needed to win out. And unfortunately, they can't do that anymore. Army at 21. I also don't think there's a way for them to get in, unfortunately. I guess they're in the American Conference, right? The American Athletic Conference. I guess if they won out and then beat the winner of this game, maybe. I don't think it's gonna happen, but there's I guess an outside chance. Ole Miss is taking on Mississippi State. Ole Miss should win, but once again they're out of the playoffs. A&M is taking on Texas. Best 3-loss team with a chance to make the playoffs. And what I mean by best is they are not the best 3-loss team. South Carolina is the best 3-loss team. But they are the best. They are the team with 3 losses with the best chances of going to the playoffs. Colorado is playing Oklahoma State, and Louisville is playing Kentucky. So, nothing too big going on there. Mizzou's got Arkansas, Kansas State's got Iowa State, Syracuse has got Miami, UNLV's got Nevada, and UNLV will be taking on Boise State, I imagine, at the end of the year in the conference championship. Duke will take on Wake Forest. Georgia Tech is playing Georgia. Oh, ULL, I wrote down as versus Georgia, so I missed ULL's game. Okay, so I'm not sure who ULL plays, but it almost doesn't matter. LSU plays Oklahoma, pulling for OU there, although it doesn't really matter either. Pitt plays Boston College. I could see either team pulling that game out. Navy will be taking on ECU. Navy should win that one. Vandy is against Tennessee. Vandy upsetting Tennessee would be amazing. That would be an amazing way to finish off the season. And then we've got Florida taking on Florida State, Kansas taking on Baylor, and Oklahoma taking on LSU. So that's kind of my thoughts here the week before rivalry week. Also, happy Thanksgiving to everybody. I should have started out the video with that, but I hope everybody has a fantastic Thanksgiving week. And I hope we have a pretty great week of college football. Some upsets could cause some chaos in the playoff rankings, but I think we've got our 12 teams. I think it's pretty much these 11 and the winner of the Big 12, whoever that's going to be. And if I had to lean one, I would I guess lean Iowa State, but I think it's probably between Iowa State and Arizona. I don't know. I think there's a possibility Colorado could still be it, and same for BYU. Although BYU's looking way less likely after the Arizona State game. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts on college football this week. I hope you guys all enjoyed the video. If you did, thanks for watching. Well, even if you didn't, thanks for watching. I hope everybody enjoyed, though. And please like and subscribe. That's going to do it for my College Football Top 25 this week. And if you want to see my thoughts about the Oklahoma-Alabama game, go check out my my unofficial post-game press conference. But thank you guys all so much for watching. I hope you guys all had a great college football season. And yeah, we'll catch you next time.